everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Thank you, Spider-Man!
You know, guys, there was a point while sitting in the theater watching Quantumania when I feared the intrusive thoughts were going to win. I learned two things from watching this movie. For one, don't see this movie in 4DX unless you want to have the same experience as Rihanna's baby during the Super Bowl. And two, I think Ant-Man loves when his daughter's in peril so he can shout for her.
Cassie. I'm coming, Cassie! 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 I love you, Peanut. Cassie! Cassie!
I probably couldn't have lower expectations when it comes to an Ant-Man movie, so his third solo outing turning into an unfunny, cringe-inducing, single-serving piece of trash was surprising. You might notice I sound a little different. I contracted some sort of illness after seeing the movie, and it's fair to assume I got it in the theater, but getting sick from watching Quantumania sounds about right. It's like every Marvel film the past 12 months has teased their return to form, which is then followed promptly by a "Gotcha, bitch!" And surprise, it's shit. Ant-Man 3 is the longest 2 hours of your life, hampered by a boring script about a generic affair with a bland, unfunny sense of humor. Jokes being forced is a pretty standard MCU criticism, but it's even more egregious here because of the comedic pedigree of Paul Rudd, whose talents in that department are wasted despite his best efforts. Ant-Man 3 also proves why you can't have most of the existing characters in the MCU as our lead heroes. I have absolutely nothing against the character of Ant-Man, but he's a side character. Just like Shang-Chi, not Iron Man, not Black Panther, and not Black Widow, and not Captain America. There's a reason that Spider-Man, Iron Man, Wolverine, Hulk, and that ilk are the face of Marvel, and the main characters in every form of Marvel Universe media. Because they're the most compelling ones. Ant-Man isn't gonna do it for me, and neither is MODOK. As an audience member, I was far more open to watching Ant-Man or giving Guardians of the Galaxy a try because I trusted what Marvel was doing based on how well they were handling the main characters. Films like Ant-Man acted as supplemental material to the bigger overall narrative that the main characters kept me invested in. We simply don't have that now, and the smartest move for Marvel is to get to the Fantastic Four and X-Men, and fast. Quite frankly, this is a pretty big missed opportunity, especially because of all the pressure Kevin Feige and Disney itself has put on the movie, consistently touting how big of a movie it is and its importance to the direction of the MCU. You'd think trying to combine elements of Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor Ragnarok together might create something interesting, not something bland and uninspired. The dullness speaks to the factory-produced, production line nature of these films. I mean, this one even tries to get Bill Murray to be the funny, cool Jeff Goldblum guy from Thor Ragnarok. But even he's just phoning it in.
And now the plot of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
The movie starts out with a flashback of Catwoman finding Kang when she was stuck in the quantum realm. We know this man is Kang
because you're a good little consumer and watched Loki first, right?
Then we switch to Scott, Mr. Ant-Man himself, who monologues to remind you how normal he is. And how crazy all this stuff happening to him has been, because he's such a normal guy, just a really relatable, average Joe, that's all. Totally normal, just a typical guy. Just really normal. So normal. You connect with this character. I'm so normal. Please relate just an average guy. So normal. I'm so normal. Go football team. Scott's gone the route of every washed-up rock star ready to publish their memoir and is selling a book about his time as an Avenger. He drives the point home at the end of the book that he just wants to be a dad to Cassie. And you can't forget that name. It's spoken 476 times in this movie. But she's been a real silly goose lately and getting into trouble with the law. She's mad at him because he left the house for milk one day and didn't come back for years. Twice.
I know how to take care of myself, okay? Trust me, I'm pretty good at it by now.
Ouch.
And he's not doing anything with his life, according to what a teenager considers doing something with your life.
And what do you do now? Sign books?
Okay, fine, whatever. If that's your character arc, at least we have one.
I literally saved the world.
Oh, did you? Well, you never mentioned that before. Everybody's got saved the world.
How was that for you, Scott?
Oh. They're bantering playfully and making light of it. If they were ice skating, they'd try and jump the hilly brush together. Guess that arc's not gonna happen. Apparently, Cassie's an actual genius because of course she is.
Your daughter built a subatomic Hubble telescope in a basement.
And the magic MacGuffin she's built obviously malfunctions so the plot can happen and they get sucked into the quantum realm along with some ants, and then they get split up. And that's in the first 5 minutes. Scott and Cassie are captured by some wacky quantum residents while Catwoman, the Wasp, and Michael Douglas stand against the worst CGI background of the entire film following the B-plot, which is a scavenger hunt. No, really, that's how it goes. They find the thing to contact the guy who brings them transportation so they can go talk to another guy. Exciting, huh? Back to Scott and Cassie. You know her name's Cassie, right?
Cassie.
They're hanging around not knowing what the fuck's going on when Goo Guy arrives. Goo Guy is the coolest character in the movie who has a suspicious obsession with bodily orifices, and his lack thereof in particular.
A big hole. How many holes do you have? I'm sorry, is that a personal question? I don't have any holes.
He puts his goo into Paul Rudd's mouth, and Paul Rudd's like... But then he realizes he can understand what everyone's saying now. I actually really like this. It got a snicker out of me. Just to have it ruined when an unfunny character shows up to pee in the lemonade. The guy's a real knee slapper with his delivery, like this zinger.
Could you please stop thinking that?
Sorry.
Please stop
Thinking?
thinking that.
Nothing like the tried and true, the dude who reads minds saw something dirty gag. Delivered as well as a FedEx box during the holidays to fill you up with giggles. Catwoman, Wasp, and Michael Douglas arrive in generic Star Wars City ripoff, and both the ladies want to stay hidden, so they're wearing masks and hoods to disguise themselves. But Michael Douglas is like, fucking nope, and walks around flashing that goatee like a total Chad. They're here to get help from Bill Murray's cameo, but Bill Murray also says, fucking nope. And it turns out he's the king of Riz, and Michael Douglas is getting mind-cucked before our eyes.
Are you not human?
Not technically, but yes, in the ways that matter.
Anyway, so Rizzilla is actually trying to capture Catwoman and her gang so he can hand them over to Kang, obviously. But they escape with a plane that's piloted by goo. Lots of goo in this one. And nothing speaks to what a modern man is more than when Michael Douglas is totally cool with his wife cucking him for 30 years straight while he stayed celibate.
That guy?
I was down here for 30 years, Henry. I had need.
I had dinner with someone a few times.
What went wrong?
She wasn't you, baby.
Catwoman tells the story of her meeting with Kang during her previous stay and that he's a bad dude. You know how she found out? Because she helped him rebuild his ship and then she touched it and it showed her all of his deeds. Yeah. Gives that memory store in Doctor Strange 2 a run for its money for best shitty plot contrivance, huh?
Play your significant memories now at a discounted price. We remember, so you don't forget.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Also, it sounds like his ship is a fucking rat.
Gnawing, eating fucking rat.
Either way, she's seen all his dirty deeds, and she's like,
You ain't no AC/DC, bitch.
and blows up his ship's power source. I mean, literally blows it up. Makes it big. Honey, I blew up the kid type of shit. Well, Kang sent his goons to kidnap Pistol Pete and Ant Kid, and Kang, speaking as if he's been constipated for a few days, tells Pistol,
Use spin particles on that fucking power source for me to shrink it down to normal size.
and Ant-Man's like,
Get fucked!
and Kang's like,
Nah.
and what do we know about Ant-Man?
Cassie!
That's right, so he agrees like a little bitch. Then there's this total douche sitting in the back just talking shit, and it starts to get annoying.
The Conqueror found me, rebuilt me, made me the ultimate weapon.
Well, moron, good for Happy Gilmore. Oh my god!
Oh my shit, how did I almost forget about the introduction of MODOK?
Look how they massacred my boy.
So Ant-Man goes down into the depths of the bloated out power source thing, and things start getting extra wacky and extra goofy because he starts duplicating himself like he's Michael Keaton in Multiplicity. In fact, it gets so overwhelming that he falls down an Ant-Man-y void. But he remembers the Obi-Wan Kenobi show and how goofy it was that after Vader trapped Obi under some rubble, he thought of Leia and that gave him the power to rise up. And Ant-Man's like,
If it works for a Jedi, it'll work for me.
and thinks to himself,
Cassie!
and breaks free.
I'm coming, Cassie.
Also, we know that Kenobi should have been thinking about Luke, if anything, but we know Disney doesn't want you to care about him because he's a male. And Ant-Man can't do it on his own either because he's Ant-Man, but thankfully the plot remembers that the Wasp is in the title and she shows up to save the day because that's what always happens now. Then Michael Douglas sees MODOK and has the same reaction as I did.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Kang gets his Powerball ticket, so him and Catwoman pick up a six-pack to celebrate in another part of the quantum realm. Michael Douglas finds Pistol and Jobin with the help of the ants that had fallen into the quantum realm with them, and there's a helpful montage with him getting signals in his comms device from the ants while they've been down there. That's right, instead of, say, showing this throughout the second act to build up to the uniting of the gang and the ants, it's just turned into an info dump. After Kang delivers some supposed to be taken seriously cringe dialogue that made me laugh at the movie,
I have lost. You have no idea what I have lost.
Cassie incites a revolt like Captain America did in Winter Soldier, and Pistol Pete shows up as Giant Man and delivers some of his own cringe dialogue that I laughed at.
Hey! We had a deal! You took my daughter!
Just a reminder, the first line was supposed to be dramatic and the second one triumphant. So the Revolution shows up to help them take on Kang, and the CGI NPCs that exist to die at the hands of the bad guy CGI NPCs, well, they die. But at least we get the best scene in the movie because of it.
I have holes.
That's right, suspiciously orifice-obsessed goo guy gets his own holes, and what power they have. Kang is absolutely P-fucking-O'd about all this, so he starts turning people into gravy, and Giant Man's like,
Mer, you promised your word is strong like oak while I brought the chainsaw, bish.
And they fight, and it kind of looks like this. Oh no, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it. Until Michael Douglas and his ants show up. And the ants dogpile on Kang. And it looks like when your mom makes her amateur videos. And MODOK shows up to help because he's not a dick. Oh yeah, I forgot about this scene.
Tell me what to be.
I don't know, just don't be a dick.
It's too late. Look at me. I'm such a dick.
This is shit! This is a table of shit!
MODOK dies for his efforts, but I doubt he'll be staying dead because I absolutely hate what they've done with the character, so more than likely he'll be back. And it's the multiverse, baby. There are no stakes or consequences. That's what makes it so good. Anyway, yay! Kang's defeated and the plot decides they can go home now. With just Ant-Man left to walk through the portal, surprise! I'm Michael Myers, bitch! The killer's not dead. And Kang and Pistol Pete duke it out one last time, mano-y-mano. But wait, there's a threat that Scott might get stuck in the quantum realm, or even die. But Wasp shows up to help because the movie remembered her name was in the title again, and they defeat Kang. But no, the portal closed behind her. She made such a sacrifice. Oh, they opened it again. Never mind. Paul Rudd leads us out of the movie with another monologue, reminding you one last time what a normal, relatable, average Joe he is. I'm so normal. I did my taxes. Wow, that coffee's expensive. I'm so normal. Average Joe. My IQ is the number right before slow. Relate to me. So average. Always missionary. I like baseball. There's the story of Ant-Man 3. Now, let's get into it here. First and foremost, like I said, the script is nothing but a boring, bland, generic fare. It meanders from situation to situation with absolutely no help from the banal special effects, and it makes everything seem like it's running at a sludgy pace. I was wondering why the movie felt so goddamn long. I honestly thought the movie was at least 2 hours and 40 minutes when I was leaving the theater, so I was pretty surprised to find out it was only 2 hours. So what went wrong? Well, how about that pacing? From my perspective, the movie was completely off balance because of its act structure. Stories are typically split up into 3 acts. Sometimes there are disagreements on exactly when and where an act might end and the next one begins, but from my POV, in this movie, the first act lasts only 5 or 6 minutes, while the second act is at least an hour and 10 minutes, with the final act pulling up around 45 minutes. What the fuck? The middle mark of the film made it feel like it had been dragging because, in some ways, it had. And story elements that could have made the film feel a little more alive were just buried in the wrong spots. Like the situation with Michael Douglas and the ants. Why didn't they just show him trying to communicate with someone throughout the movie? The same result could happen. You could have just showed it to the audience and not have him talk about it. Good old show don't tell. But we, the audience, could infer it had something to do with the ants, who we knew would have to show up at some point, and it could build to it. It's not revolutionary, but that sort of thing gives more life to a story. With good ideas shoved into the wrong spots in the story and the act structure all fucked up, the foundation of your film is already shit. And where are the character arcs? There's Cassie's that they started and abandoned in a matter of 45 seconds, and yeah, Scott loves his daughter. He loved her at the beginning, and loves her at the end. Fascinating. And come to find out, this was written by the same guy who's writing Avengers Kang Dynasty. So buckle up, folks, because after seeing this, my faith in an MCU redemption via an Avengers movie has been shaken to its core. But whatever, right? As long as the characters are compelling, we can bridge this gap. So it's too bad there isn't an engaging character in sight. Let's start off with Jonathan Majors, who's the most praised piece of this movie. Guys, what the actual hell? Jonathan Majors is a good actor, so I'm blaming this one on the script, but Kang is fucking cringe. The dude talks like he's on a date and struggling to hold in a fart. Majors is trying to play it like he's forcefully disarming. In some moments of dialogue delivery, he almost reminded me of Michael Clark Duncan's brilliant performance in The Green Mile as John Coffey. He gives off a feeling that he's experiencing mental anguish, but he speaks softly and gently in some sort of painful politeness. Except brilliant isn't how I describe Kang's version of that. It comes off as completely silly, and I just see an actor acting instead of a character. I shouldn't have expected anything but praise, though, from everyone else. He was already getting praised when he was hired, so I guess it's another one of those situations where you're supposed to say something is good. And Michael Douglas doesn't seem to be acting in the same movie as everyone else. There were a handful of times during the film that I thought he really needs to just stop acting. You're old. You're done. Even Clint Eastwood stays behind the camera now. And Evangeline Lilly's presence is completely wasted, even though she's in the title. Man, Disney, you guys can't get anything right lately, can you? I honestly forgot she was there even when she was on the screen. The girl who plays Cassie has acting chops on par with Kristen Stewart and almost looks like her too, so, take all that as you will. And Paul Rudd? What a waste of this man's talent. He has a couple lower key jokes that land, and they were clearly his contribution to the movie in those moments. So what are you doing with this script? Let Paul Rudd it up. Now, the special effects, as mentioned, are total chud. I mean, it is an MCU movie after all, but this time around I'm a little surprised because of the tech they supposedly used. The filmmakers utilized the same technology The Mandalorian revolutionized to give a real background, but it just looks like complete shit and nothing better than what they've done in the past. Honestly, it's Spy Kids 3D level quality. There's even a meme pointing it out. Not only did it not look convincing, it was also just boring. How many times have you seen a completely interchangeable landscape from the last landscape you saw in an MCU movie? At some point, AI cloning technology will be good enough to put a replica of whatever actor on the screen, voice and all, and then you can have actors play those roles indefinitely and just compensate them through royalties. Although, considering where tech is now but what Disney gives us on screen, they'll still look as good as Agent Smith CGI in The Matrix Revolutions. This is the problem with effects. CGI complaints have been rampant for years, but they're always forgiven because of compelling characters. When you don't have that, you kind of start looking at your surroundings more and becoming a little less forgiving.
The multiverse.
This probably deserves a dedicated video, but Ant-Man 3 further illustrates the problem with multiverse movies. They can be done well, everything everywhere all at once, but that movie had engaging characters that gave us some grounding. Sound familiar? In the MCU's multiverse, you don't get that, and you also don't get any sense of what's at stake. Instead, you have a feeling that nothing is important because anything can happen. One thing is bigger than another, which is bigger than another. Remember when they showed the Infinity Stones in a desk drawer in Loki, and it just gave you a really negative feeling because it makes the thing you were invested in the last 10 years completely unimportant and meaningless?
How do you have these?
Oh, we actually got a lot of those. Yeah, some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Well, nothing's changed. My favorite part of the debacle that is Ant-Man 3 is the real-world consequences of its reception. Ant-Man 3 was supposed to kick off Phase 5, and its importance was announced across the heavens. Kevin Feige has acted like a politician the last couple years, putting out fires over the lukewarm reception and underperformance of his Phase 4 slate, telling us how happy he is with the products and how successful everything's been. Meanwhile, he's trying to retool things on the fly behind the scenes to satiate people, like bringing Hugh Jackman out of retirement for one last ride as Wolverine. And, oh wow, what a shocker. As soon as Ant-Man 3 gets a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes and a B Cinema score, Kevin Feige, that opening day, announces a delay for the Marvels and a shrinking down of its Disney Plus slate with some projects already in production now being placed on indefinite hiatus. Gee, it's almost like the oversaturation of the market with piss-poor product that your own audience has been telling you is a terrible idea was a terrible idea. How strange that people would rather see Spider-Man and Fantastic Four than fucking Ironheart and Agatha Harkness. And if you somehow think a B Cinema score is good, I assure you it's not. Cinema scores poll opening day audiences. These are the people that want to get out there and see it as soon as possible. The true fans. So in box office analysis, typically cinema scores mean this. A+ means A+, A means A minus means B, B+ means C, B means D. It's just how it is. Ant-Man 3 made me go back and watch an older MCU movie to see if I was just being nostalgic. I remember driving home gaslighting myself like, maybe the MCU was always shitty. But no, it was not. I can confirm this because the 11-year-old Avengers 1 that I watched is still awesome. Ant-Man 3 just sucks. And what a missed opportunity it was. Not that Ant-Man was going to save the MCU or anything, but with the breeziest, easiest character to make a movie with, they should have been able to provide a bit of a palate cleanser from the trash of Phase 4. I anticipated a relatively inoffensive film when it comes to quality, but they put so much emphasis on the film it completely collapsed under the pressure only Kevin Feige is responsible for burdening it with. In the end, you have an absolute nothing burger. There's no meat on the bones of this one. It's a fucking vegan burger is what it is. A corporatized, processed, boring product meant to be consumed and shat right out, and probably give you cancer.
Movie, I take it you're going to go see this. Yeah, and I don't like hate the MCU either. Like I loved the MCU a couple of years ago. So
same man.
but I'll call out every bad piece of shit that they pump out, and I am predicting a collapse, but all the same I still want it to be good, and I don't mind Ant-Man, and I'm looking forward to Guardians. So I'm not dead on this franchise yet.
I should probably be done giving any leeway to an MCU production at this point, but I carry on. Anyway, I'm gonna go get better now. Don't forget that I have a second channel called Movie Cynic Post Credits that's meant to be for everything less prescient but worthy of discussion. And yes, more than one video will be there soon. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, my Patreon is in the description along with my socials and all that good stuff. Till next time, GG's.
Attack!